So in our short story, it goes right to Progress Report 11. So 10 is kind of skipped. But something I forgot to mention about Progress Report 9 is there's one entry that I missed to talk about that's super important, where it begins with him saying, "I feel really sick inside." See, on that day, which was April 20th, I believe, April 20th, let me double check. On that day, Charlie's friend wanted to take him out, and so Charlie didn't want to drink, and so they went to a bar, and they gave him a Coke. They go, "Oh, don't worry, Charlie," they gave him a Coke. Charlie noticed it tasted funny. Now, what he didn't understand was that that Coke was spiked, and it had alcohol in it. And so, again, Charlie got really drunk, and all of a sudden, they were encouraging to dance with a lady, and so this lady he was dancing with, and dancing, and dancing, and dancing, and they kept tripping him, and laughing at him, and laughing, and laughing, and laughing. The difference is, though, is that Charlie knew what was going on. When Charlie woke up, he realized that he didn't have friends. He realized that he was lonely. And he realized that people were just laughing at him, which is really sad. So it's important that now Charlie is able to see and understand other people. He's able to read people, and you'll see this development later on in his progress report. So in Progress Report 11, he stays home from work, and he's just extremely sad, and he's like, "I'm done." So he stays home, which he's never skipped a day. Now, he does go into the doctor's office. Does go into the lab, and he learns different things about IQ. But the thing is, which is different, is he asks Dr. Schatz what IQ is. Dr. Schatz gives him a different answer. Then he asks Dr. Niemer. Dr. Niemer gives him an answer. Then he asks Bert. And Bert was the guy that would test his intelligence. And they all had different answers. And so Charlie is beginning to critical think now. He's like, wait a second. How can you test IQ if all of you guys have different answers? His intelligence is increasing. He is doing something that many of us don't do. Oftentimes when we learn facts, we don't go and fact check. We don't go, "Wow, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?" We just accept it. Charlie's starting to take it a step farther. So he's also realizing his IQ is increasing. So then they want to start testing him again. And so they give him the ink blot test. Remember, the first time he took it, he was literally looking for pictures. This time the tester comes in and he's mad at the guy giving the test. Because the tester was like, "Yeah, so you're going to look for images in this picture." And he's like, "What? So you mean there's no literal pictures?" And the guy laughed at it. The guy didn't laugh. The guy's like, "What? No, I'm saying the same exact thing." See, Charlie didn't believe the tester. So when Charlie's looking at the ink blots, he is now able to see figuratively. He's now able to imagine. So he's imagining all these pictures, and he's analyzing. He's like, "Wow, this is amazing. This guy must have lied to me. There is no way I could have been this dumb earlier on." Bars. And so he gets frustrated on one hand, but then he's relieved on the other. And then he takes a step farther. He's like, "You know what? I could just lie, and this guy wouldn't even know." So as you see, his intelligence is increasing more and more and more and more. He's able to use his imagination, but also what's happening is he's beginning to treat people differently. If you look at the doctors and the testers, he's beginning to become more rude. Before, he trusted everybody. He liked everybody. He was kind to everybody. Now he's doubting people. Now he's questioning people. Now he's even being a little rude to the doctors. Think about it. The more intelligence he gets, maybe the more alone he becomes. So is it better to be more intelligent, or is it better to become less intelligent? Is there a right answer? We may never know. But eventually he does go back to work in the same progress report, and people do not even talk to him. It's not that they don't like him. It's that something different is happening. They realize how smart he's becoming. And they don't know about the operation. And so they're treating him differently, and they're like, "Oh, man." So he'll go talk to Frank. "Hey, Frank, how you doing?" Frank just gets up, walks away. He even saves his boss $10,000 a year, which back then was like $500,000. I threw that number out, but it was actually a lot of money. It was like $500,000. Yet no one's talking to him, and he's becoming more and more isolated. More and more isolated. And even the doctors now are starting to fight with each other. because they're seeing how this experiment is working, and they're like, wait, we need to publish it. No, we need to keep testing. And so they're fighting, and so Charlie's even questioning them, and he's doubting them, and so all these things are changing in Charlie's life. But there's something even more that's changing, and he's realizing something. How he feels about Miss Kinnian. He has dinner with Miss Kinnian, just him, and yes, it's a date. And they're talking and laughing, and she's amazed at how smart Charlie's becoming, and it's great. And he's like, man, I'm really in love with this woman. But Miss Kinnian's worried, and Miss Kinnian's like, I really hope this lasts, Charlie, like thinking in her head, and they don't want to speak about it. Because that's one of the risks. It might not be forever. But another risk that is underlying everything is, will Charlie die? I mean, Algernon was the only animal that it lasted this long with, and then they did human trials. So, will something bad happen to Charlie? Now that's really the underlying thing about Progress Report 11. Charlie's in love. Charlie's changing his ideas on people. Charlie's becoming so smart and intelligent. And you can just tell by reading it, by the verbiage and the language he's using, and his punctuation and his grammar. He's told that he has to literally dumb it down so other people can understand him. So, what's going to happen in Progress Report 12? What's going to happen in the future? We'll have to see.